What's up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. Alright, today's video, we're going to be talking about Legion of X number 4 by Cy Spurrier and Jan Bazaldua. And in this video, I'm going to be breaking down who this new trickster god from Arako is and why he could potentially be one of the most dangerous gods of mischief in Marvel Comics.
You can't see me, you Stevie, wondering how I reach more evolutions than Evie and make it look easy.
So basically, since the start of Legion of X, we've been following Nightcrawler as well as Weaponless Jin and the rest of the Legion of X gang in their attempts to track down a wayward trickster god from Arako at the behest of one of the members of the Great Ring, the Omega level mutant, Aura Serrata. One of the things we learned in Legion of X number 1 is that Arako doesn't tolerate the existence of gods on their planet. Considering everything that Arako had been through since before Ten of Swords, they had gone through countless wars, tons of slavery, virtually endless war with the men. So when the KRAKOan mutants came together, terraformed Mars, and turned it into a planet for mutants, what basically happened was a bunch of refugee mutants were thrown into a new environment and new situations, and this was basically the dinner bell being rung for pretty much every god looking for followers. And while Arako doesn't outright reject gods sight unseen, they do feel that there aren't any gods who are absolutely positively worthy of being worshipped by them. But if they could somehow find one, they'd be more than happy to worship that god if that god were worthy. And right now there's one particular god who has escaped Araki justice, and Aura Serrata wants him found. Initially, it was easy to believe that maybe it was Mother Righteous, but with everything going on with the Skinjacker story arc, which basically refers to Switch, a mutant formerly an X-Force villain, bolstering their mutant ability to soul jump into the bodies of others, kicking the other person out of it and into his own body by using magic way above his pay grade, originally it seemed maybe Mother Righteous was the one supplying him with his excess power, considering what she was offering to give Legion as well as Banshee, because he has been using an excessive amount of his power on KRAKOA's mutants, forcing them to harm themselves, cutting off their own limbs, or otherwise mutilating themselves in some other way. They've even been playing pranks on mutants on the island, even shaving off one of Xavier's eyebrows. I mean, technically Xavier got off light considering other characters have lost arms, but the idea Switch could body swap one of the most powerful telepaths in the universe, with Charles Xavier having no knowledge or memory of it, that's a flex. They've even taken over the bodies of the members of the Legion of X and made them all look pretty damn stupid. They've both underestimated and disrespected Switch's ability to be a threat, but now they know better, and Nightcrawler has now come face to face with this trickster god Switch has been worshipping, a god of mischief named Tumult, who might just be one of the most powerful and dangerous entities ever birthed into existence, if only he had ambition. Tumult is a trickster god who is an amalgam of every variety of god across multiple mythologies, religions, and cultures, most of which are either other trickster gods or other gods of mischief. You can look at him and tell that one of his main influences is the Asgardian god Loki. He's also made up of parts of the African god Anansi, the Roman goddess Eris, the native Hawaiian deity Maui, the Greek god Hermes, the Aztec god Huehueteotl, the Irish mythological figure Menace MacLear, and a laundry list of many more. Tumult is a brand new god born from the belief others have had in other gods across time, any and every god ever imagined, who happened to be depicted as either a god of mischief, a trickster, or just a god who could fall into any of those categories or were at least in some way adjacent to those types of categories. And we've learned over the years that gods in the Marvel Comics universe thrive on belief, and the more devotion gods have directed towards them, the more powerful they become, and the more worshippers they have, the more they're able to manifest themselves beyond their altar of worship. But it's even been stated that even a god with just one truly devout follower, especially a powerful one, can be a massive threat, even more than a god with 1,000,000 true believers. And while Tumult doesn't care to share how he was created, Switch is giving him all the belief that he cares to have. He's content to just sit in a jar and be trapped by a mischief-making mutant so long as he's fed belief and faith. If he for 5 seconds believed he could have more, he'd be a force to be reckoned with, something even Thor wouldn't want to face off with. But it's just that. Tumult, he's just happy to be there. He is content to be where he is. He wants nothing more, and his mere existence is a slap in the face to one of the most Catholic superheroes in existence. Nightcrawler has always been a devout believer in his Catholic faith, and Nightcrawler cannot believe a god was simply created out of nowhere, which is funny considering much of what we know about religion throughout history, it all just kind of happens. We know long ago in ancient times, many of the gods that were revered were mere explanations to rationalize things that were happening that to the uneducated mind would appear to be magic, like lightning raging across the sky, crops withering suddenly, children dying in mass out of nowhere, plagues ripping through communities, the weather being unusually hot. It was all a way to rationalize things, and it makes sense that this happened, especially when we consider who was responsible for his creation and the type of mutants who were on Arako. In Legion of X #1, Urasaurata charged Nightcrawler and Weaponless Jin with bringing Tumult to Iraqi justice, but never explained why he escaped, and now we know a bit more about why. Tumult wasn't brought to KRAKOA by Switch, but what we do know is that he was brought to Arako by an Omega level mutant on the Great Ring, Urasaurata herself. She unleashed Tumult on Arako and allowed him to commit all the chaos and discord that allowed her to turn all Iraqi against the gods. And she wants him back so she can destroy him and no one will know the real truth. This is why she's turned on even her most loyal disciple, Weaponless Jin, who saw the truth using her own powers to, quotey fingers, paint the truth by looking through the window she makes using her pointer fingers the way a painter would. She's seen all of Tumult's handiwork, and while most of it's, funny or silly, and in some cases downright laughable, there's a point where we see a group of Iraqi mutants who've all had their heads turned into the blobfish. We also see that they've defaced the statues of Apocalypse and Genesis on Arako as well. Aura was secretly worshipping the same god she wanted executed, using Tumult's magic no different than Switch is now, but turning against Tumult when it suited her purposes. And now that both Nightcrawler and Jin know the truth, the real question is, what will become of Tumult? Will he stay on KRAKOA and become a deity that helps Nightcrawler realize the spark he's envisioned, the same spark that was originally meant to be the mutant religion, something that Nightcrawler has been striving to create since Jonathan Hickman's X-Men #7 2 years ago? Or will Urasaurata be outed as a liar and the truth about how she used Tumult to turn Iraqi against gods be revealed? Maybe Tumult becomes the god that the Iraqi feel they deserve. Either way, Tumult could be a powerful ally if either Arako or KRAKOA or both chose to have him. If he was to get as many as even 101 true believers, he'd be able to rival even the most believed in gods. And who knows, maybe he won't have to hang around long, considering what Exodus is fated to become, a phoenix wielding Omega level mutant messiah turned deity if Destiny's prophecy actually happens. Whatever happens next, Nightcrawler's going to need help exposing Urasaurata, and Tumult could be instrumental in making that happen. But he's gonna have to deal with a Switch-controlled Legion first, and we also can't forget that Banshee is still flying around screaming his head off in the astral plane, so there's also that they gotta deal with as well. The real question is, who killed Mr. DaCosta at the beginning of this issue? I mean, looking at the hands, they kind of are of what appears to be purplish, pinkish nature. I mean, probably more pink than anything else, but comes off as purple in a low light scenario. But whoever it is has a robotic voice, as denoted by their speech bubbles. I don't know, the easy answer could be Nimrod, which would be interesting considering that when this happens, it takes place at the altar, which is largely considered to be on the astral plane. That said, it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility that Nimrod could actually traverse the astral plane, considering that technically there is a actual person who makes up his consciousness, which would be Dr. Alia Gregor's deceased husband, Erasmus, who died during the events of House of X number 3 and 4. And as Philip K. Dick long ago taught us, androids do dream of electric sheep. All in all, I really like what this issue does. There's a lot of calling out of Nightcrawler's hypocrisy, the fact that he's pretending to be this holier than thou Catholic, when in truth all he does is takes the parts of being Catholic that are useful to him and the rules that he can bend and throwing everything else out. Tumult calls him out on this, and I like it even better when Jin does the same thing. I also like that Juggernaut is trying to be a better person and Xavier's just not going for it. No matter how much Juggernaut tries, and while yes, he's still doing, destructive things on the island, he's not doing it out of malice. And Xavier's trying to treat him as though he's this dangerous thing that no matter how good his intentions, he's just gonna, mess everything up. But the reality is, Xavier has given millions of more chances since the House of X era to people who don't even deserve it, while Juggernaut, his own stepbrother, he is just not willing to give a chance. But I'm hoping somewhere along the road, at least if I don't expect Xavier to give him a chance, but I feel like he is going to find his place. Juggernaut is going to find his place on the Legion of X, and he is going to be appreciated and treated as an ally to Krakoans, and I think it's only a matter of time that, before all this happens. But anyways, that's everything I want to talk about with Legion of X. In the meantime, if you want to know more about how Exodus is rising up in the ranks to become the next mutant messiah, check out this video up here. And if you want to know more about Nightcrawler's quest to create the first mutant religion that was the precursor to the Legion of X series, check out this video down here. In the meantime, let me know what you thought about Legion of X number 4. Keep it plus ultra and sound off in the comments.